Kilo one Tonadol, Tony Niel, DJ Dingarang, Jagda Lord, the end of a ping. I didn't Majaga, Dang Makwaga, or Tony Parrot, ye mother wounded, I put him with Pandania. I Tony Twelve Mutunga Tony, Madini Majak, and Yard Kubu one by Egypt, Sukula, Kabi, my young children, Mammy Bayan, I bring a kilo. But then Majaga, Dang Makwaga, or Tony Parrot, ye mother wounded, I put him with Pandania. I Tony Twelve Mutunga Tony, Madini Majak. Anyar kebe kwanga ijin sukula ikapi na jom chibyo mami paye aye pingi kielo adene majaga we santo man kolnyang Mike Sholgranga one yubing yero
welcome guys. Good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are. Welcome. Talk show this evening. So share the video. We have some of new things to share with you guys. To share some of the information. My friend guy visit Barkazal. We'll show you the video on that. And then our topic this evening is about why Okay, welcome guys, welcome. So I'm not going to be playing a lot of music. So let me go to my topic. Welcome to Lake State Media. My name is Madid Majak. I'm one of the Lake State Media hosts. And this is the talk show. I always come with the topic that we discuss because we have things going on in our country. And this is very much, the show that I host is very much about political talk show. So yes, so let me begin with the journey of the Vice President, General Taban Dengai. He traveled today from Juba. On his way to Bentiu, he stopped in Barkaza in my hometown, in Lake State, where he's in Awarial, in my hometown in Yerul. So he stopped there and he warm welcome by my own people. Listen to this video. On his way, he's traveled on land, not on air. So as you guys know that Vice President Taban Dengai, he's the one responsible for the road construction. So, and we know that Barkazar from Juba to Barkazar road is still not working, functioning. As you guys know, last season, rainy seasons, Lake State has experienced the flooding, especially in the area of Rumbek. So a lot of citizens lost their property, and some of them lost their life too. So because of the road too is bad. So now it's good for him to travel by land so that they can see how the road condition is. So his journey is start from Juba until his destination is Bentiu, his hometown. So now, that is a good thing. So these are the two things that I just want to point out. Number one is need to see how the road condition is. And number two, when he reach to Bentiu, he will see what is happening in that area region, because insecurity is a big factor in that area. White Army is doing a lot of stuff. And also I'm praying for his safety, because those of criminals are on the way, they're ambushing. And I'm praying for his safety journey to his destination in Bentiu. So here is the video for reception today in Lake State, which is in Yerul in Minkaman. So listen to this video.
Bantu capital of Unity State. The Vice President and the accompanied delegation left Juba on Wednesday afternoon through Awarial County, where he was received by the County Commissioner, Honorable Cliff Mawood Garang.
His Excellency, the Shah at Awarial County, the Shah at Lake State. And then I guide now that Awarial County, Village Petana Mamin, Village Petana Wada, Wanena guide.
The Vice President, in his address to the Chief of Awarial County, called for peace and respect of law and order.
أنا بسلم للشعب بتاع ويريان. أي بينو لا وقاعد موضوع كويا ويريان بن. موجودين في كل يارين. كوي وين توتن وقولردن. رئيس البكير ميادي بسلم عليكم كثير. بيننا سلفا كير وموضوع بن جوبا. بسلم عليكم كثير. وموضوع بن يبان. هو بيقول لكم سلام لسه فيه. وموضوع دور جنوب السودان أتودي. سلام لسه موجود. لكن يجي دور راي. سلام هيمشي لقدام. دور لا توين. أنا برضو جايب لكم سلام بتاع ولدكم صغير اسمه بنجي مبول ميل. بنجوان بول ميل كمان هو موت كأن نبغى كوبي كواني من سيوكه. وكان بنجوان تيجي دعوة ولا نيجي وكان. هو موت. هو بقول لكم كلام بتاع شهر ده بيبدأ قريب. الجماعة شدنا كنا بقول. السنة الجاية ده شهر زرق بوصل في كوليارين. أشوال رونه كتاعك زلا ده بيرو كوليار كله جدا. بمشي لقدام. وقالوا توه نقول تبارك زال كله. زي ما رئيس يبدأ جاي هنا ده. ورجيرة بنا ده أنا بجا نيجي ده أنا. وجنام هنا. وني هنا ده. تاني ده ما بقيف. أجار باي تبغى كوج. أنا ماشي لقدام. أنا لا توه. ما بنوم معكم. أنا جنين نقويك. بمشي بنوم في رومبيك. أنا بلا نين بنا شو رومبيك. لأن رئيس رئيس لنا اللي بنتي وأنا ماشي بنتيو. بنا جات واج بنا شو بنتيو. لأن في حفلة كبيرة هناك كنيسة كاسلك. أنا لون دي لرا لو كنيسة كاسلك في بنتيو. كنيسة بتاع بنتيو عمل 100 سنة. كنيسة بنتيو نارون كبوات ككنيسة. عشان كده فيها احتفال كبير. كأن على لون رون كبوات عشان بيكتير كده أنا 1919. رئيس قال لي نمشي نمثله. رئيس الجمهورية أجي جماعي لور بلا كوي نيندي كي ينابيا. في بنتيو كمان أنا بمشي لكاونتيز بتاعت روين. في بنتيو كله وانا بمشي بسلم الناس بقولوا سلام بتاعكم كمان بتاع ويريا لنا ابلا شاد كاونتيز كي بنا كان ببا شاد بقول لا يوغا بنيا ومو ببا يقول سلام تدي في رجوع بتاعي لا دوندي انا بجي لسيكا برضو ابلا بنجا شابين بجي بنوم في رومبك ابو بنين في رومبك وانا بعمل محاضره في رومبك بابا محاضره لو ابي جام كاي رومبك ده بعدك لو غبنر وافق اجي غبنر قام انا بجي معه كمان في ويريا لنا كبوكا غبنر دا يبقى بني هنا ويريا ده بعمل محاضره كبير معكم هنا وبوب ناغا مات ده الكلام البسيط ده بقول لكم انا جاي كور بين بلاوي كان قال يكون في سلام في البلد تاك سلامه تدي دور بعدين تكم سميتو اتاك بين قال Riek Machar سجنوه في بيت بتاعه.
Riek Machar ma bai pande berertin
هو ما في حاجة بطالة سلوه.
acin gira chiro luoyen
وفي البيت بتاعه
arara bai pande
ما ماشي شغل.
ace lo tin luoy
ده بيحصل في حكومة.
kugero lo ya kuma ejiban ko ya ga mai
أي زول تحت الرئيس ده رئيس بيعمل قرار لو في سبب بيسجنوه.
ranong gidin te chene tamu ko ranong tin ju wo e mai
نائب أول بيسجنوه.
na ba lawul yen ran to ben chuke number 20 e mai
نائب رئيس زي تابان ده زي بول ميل زي بنو ده بيسجنوه.
general ko na ba chimin taban dengai e mai
ده رئيس الجمهورية بس يا ما
ayi ko men na muudi ko ju wo ga mai
رئيس الجمهورية سلفا كير بيعمل قرار أنا سجنت أي زول لو عنده سبب لو في سبب.
jumuria riarde luel ku jamara ne acha mai no ngen ki ju wo
رئيس الجمهورية يا ما في زول له قرار عشان يسجنوه.
ere ga chira ne mai
لكن كمان في حاجة بسجن رئيس الجمهورية.
kuna no ngi ju wo ya ga biti ana ko ti jo
برلمان بسجن رئيس الجمهورية.
majalan dan wer jo ga wera ra ulwa ngati ne jumuria ti
لو رئيس الجمهورية عمل غلط
ana ngi ju wo
برلمان بسجنه.
ga ti je barlaman
دي أول دولة بتاع قانون.
ke yen ga nun gan
سو ما في زول يكون مستحيل قال ليه ريك مشار سجنه.
do bubu ga ya re da ngone ne mai ya ga mai
أي زول بيس البكير نحن كلنا تحت قانون.
o ga lung ga to tuen qur'an lung jo
لو أنت مشيت برا من قانون
acha lo be lung ko
بسجنوه.
ina lo
then بعدك أنت بيمشي بيعمل دفاع لنفسك.
yine roja be la ko nyito
لو عملت دفاع كويس أنت بمرق برا.
acha nye ko nya pot ka yine jo be lo banbe
فدير أقول لكم لو سيبيروا كلام ده ما حاجة جديد في البلد.
acha we ga pingi do ga gai wa gubarer ke ro ka lo ro lo
في دولة بتاع قانون
pan no lung
الناس بسجنوه.
kwa nyigi anyagi we ko ile pan no lung
أنتوا كلوا بالكم لو أنت ضابط
yiran jeng tila kuma
ضابط جيش
yiran jej
ضابط بوليس
yiran police
ضابط سجون
da be sujud
ضابط مجلس
ran majalas
محافظ
kuma pas
حاكم
wali
سلطان
uja sultan
مواطن.
moto ndendo ko den
نحن هسه نخلي بالنا لو نايب أول سجنوه زول ثاني بكون كيف ما في زول يعمل غلط.
o ga pelo po pinjura na kanti era ne ben bag bay kedi
خلي بالنا يكون فوق قانون.
upanda be na lum
كلام ثاني ده أقول لكم برضه
do karba lewe
لكن ده ما مشكلة بتاع الياب.
ache gana aliap
الياب ده بتاع قانون.
aliaba ko pa banyi lum
ده أقول كلام
kilo aligin
كلام ده ماشي لنوير.
kena lo don koy ko chol nwer
كلام ده ماشي للون لوناري.
alo don ko je lonari
ماشي لنفس توي.
bargazal
ماشي لنفس غوغريال
gogrial ku toy
ومرله
ku jamurle
ودينكابور
ku koy bor
ونوير بتاع لو
ku no dir lawtu
ونوير أيود
kuna yot awer
ونوير بتاع ناصر.
ku kana nasir
سنة ده أكون بيجا زعلان.
rune akuma boria
لو زول هبي زول
jagiran
أكون بيجي لإنت.
baran lad wala lo yinmu
شوف
bagdin
يا قانون بيجي كده.
ke longi ji jaban
لو عملت جريمة
acha jirima lo
أكون بيجي لإنت.
ina kai longdum
هسه بعد شوية
ay nyak
نرجع للشغل بتاعنا بتاع زمان.
ko ga doglon ta da ne uloy
زول ماشي بعصاية بتاعه بس
nga ga ta ga lunde
وبكوكب بتاعه عشان مرفعين.
jala binde ken tente ter ke ga ke gidi
وعصاية بتاعه عشان بقر بتاعه مرفعين.
jala lunde be a chade ye banum da agel
ما في زول بيعمل زول.
kiran bera angod
لأنه هبيت زول
agod iran
جيش فيه بيجيك.
ke jeja bo
طيارة بيجيك.
tayara bo
زول هاي الدرون القال زول القال ما فز قبل شوية كمان بيجيك.
a dro ne cho anyal biting nyal go moji
فخلينا نكون مع قانون.
Salvakir oye! Amante Engai oye! Carol oye! Amante Engai oye! Aspelam oye! Aspelam oye! Aspelam oye! Aspelam oye! Amante Engai oye! Honor Manmojo Manjam oye! Kurana oye! South Sudan oye! South Sudan oye! Salvakir oye!
Taban was also received at Ural West County headquarters, in which he briefed the county administrators on development in the country before his reception at Rumbek East. And during his arrival to the headquarters Rumbek, his reception was upon the governor of Lake State, Honorable Rintwain Mabur.
His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic and Chair of the Infrastructure Cluster, Gerald Taban, has this morning arrived Rumbek, well received by the state government under able leadership of Gerald Rintwain Mabur. Gerald Taban is on a mission to attend, on behalf of the President, the 100-year celebration of the Catholic Church in Bentiu, Unity State. On his mission, the Vice President will be addressing peace messages given to him by the President to all the communities along the way, which he started yesterday in Awerial and Yerul West, and this morning in Rumbek East. One of the key messages is that the President tasked Gerald Taban to tell the people along this route that the revitalized peace agreement is still holding, and the government of the Republic of South Sudan is committed to fully implement the agreement, despite the recent events in Nasir and the subsequent arrest of Dr. Riek Machar. Those are things that will be handled by the law, but the agreement remains intact.
According to the press secretary in the office of the Vice President, Manuel Dudkok, the mission is to address the peace message to the people.
Additionally, Gerald Taban is also the chair of the infrastructure cluster, which is responsible for all the roads projects in the country. So he is using this opportunity as well to assess the road conditions Bahr al Ghazal region and possibly the corridor between Warab and Unity State.
The Vice President's visit to Lake State particularly is very important to us as people of Lake State because he is the chair responsible for infrastructure cluster. This will at least give him time and all the time to supervise the roads that is passing through our states, because without these roads, it is really difficult for goods, coming from Juba, going to the other ends of Bahr el Ghazal, which is Western Bahr el Ghazal, maybe Warab State and Northern Bahr el Ghazal State. So road that pass through Lake State is very important, and we really like His Excellency Vice President to put much emphasis on supervising and seeing exactly where will not be possible during the rainy season. So it's also important in regards to the peace agreement. So he's also passing by here, giving key messages of peace and the implementation of the revitalized peace agreement to the citizens.
We don't love killing.
Yeah, so there you have it. So by President Dr. General Tabandengai is on his way to Bentiu. So this is the very good sign, and you have heard his message. And what I get out from his message, that the government is not happy, and he's using his power to bring those people who are enemy for peace to bring to the law. So now you have seen and you have heard from him, and that message is going to all across the board. Those areas that having insecurity. He mentioned those, whether in Bentiu, Nasser, Toinos, or Lake State, or Bore Down, or you name it. So all this area. So now let me go back to my topic of today. So now you have heard, so talk about the peace implementation. So another issues again, we have heard that the parties into the RC's peace agreement has endorsed. Let me repeat: the party into the RC's peace agreement have endorsed Stephen Paul as a representative of SPLM-IO. So he says they now endorse the next step. Let me read this one out. They held the meeting today, okay? The meeting of today, they said that the meeting of the high-level standing committee for the implementation of peace, of 2018 peace agreement, a body compromise parties to recognize the endorse the interim leadership of SPLM-IO by the peace building ministry, Stephen Parr, Kwal, the move came inspired because you see they endorse him. So now they recognize him as a chairman, as interim chairman of SPLIO. So he will carry on with others peace partner in the RCs to continue with the peace parliamentation. So now the next step is for the president Salva Kiir to give out the degree that Stephen Palquar will be the streaming with the first acting will be a stream or acting first by president in the replacement of Dr. Riek Machar. So that would be the next move. So now we have seen we have seen today or any days like a week, couple of weeks ago or a month, you have seen some of the release of statement, press statement from international community calling for the release of Dr. Riek Machar from the house of arrest. So the question I'm asking to international community, do they know who the Dr. Riek Machar is? Yes, we, the South Sudanese, we know who the Dr. Riek Machar is. And let me put you guys in mind, yes, there's nothing wrong with the peace or dialogue. Nothing wrong with it. It's okay. We need peace in the country. But peace with Riek Machar is not going to work. This is my opinion. This is my my opinion here. Do not take this Medin Majag's opinion. This is how I see, because I grow up in South Sudan. And I live in those moments from 1983 until today. So in 91, when Dr. Riek Machar having a conflict with Dr. John Garang Damabir, I was young by then, but I was in Kapoita. I was in Kapoita. We were run our life when Dr. Riek Machar rebels and sent those forces to kill the innocent civilian in Bor. So, and I was young by then. We ran our life from Kapoita to Nairus, from Nairus to Logoshogi, and from Logoshogi to Kakumbrudiska. That's why we will spend out the rest of our 9 years or 10 years in Kakuma until we come to America. So we know who Dr. Riek Machar is. And seeing the beginning in 1983, or let me go back, forward, all of this work, Dr. Riek Machar history is always chaos against his own comrade in the movement. In 1991 is one of the history. He formed his own movement called SIM, and he fought with Dr. Garang Damabir and current president Salva Kiir. Okay, and he killed a lot of people. I listened to a lot of people here in social media said that Dr. Riek Machar is one of the people. Without him, who talk about the separation of South from the North. My response to these people, okay, if Dr. Riek Machar was fighting with the Jalaba about separation from the North and the South, why is he rebel against Dr. Garang and then join the same enemy in the North of Sudan, or Murubachir at the time, in 1991, 92, killing his own people? So Dr. Riek Machar is always on the side of anti-peace in the country. So I don't know why the international community don't see the history of this guy. Okay, if Dr. Riek Machar is arrested today, and he's in house arrest, according to me, his arrest was not only what happened in Nasser. It will be tracked back to 1991. It will be tracked back into 2013. It will be tracked back into 2016. This time of event at the time that Dr. Riek Machar committed a huge crime against humanity. Okay? So now, the international community calling for the release of Dr. Riek Machar. So what are you getting of it? If Dr. Riek Machar will be released, so will be free, no charges. What is the reason for? What is the reason why they arrest him in the first place? And I'm really glad that the government of Republic of South Sudan stand on their ground, not to be pressured by international community to listen to them. Okay? Because this international community, they have their own country. And your own country, you have always had people who are commit a crime, and your government arrest them. And you have no right to come and pressure the other nation to release their own criminal from prison or from house arrest. It's never happened. If you are talking about the peace to come to South Sudan, you should talk about the peace without Riek Machar. Try the new way. Talk, if you want access to be implemented, talk about without Riek Machar. And this is a very clear that, the message clear that to IGAD and AU, when they visit Juba a few days ago, and they released their press statement, and they make it very clear. Their press statement don't even mention Dr. Riek Machar's name. That can tell other international community, quote unquote, in Western country, to know that the reason why the IGAD and AU have not called or asking the government of the Republic of South Sudan to go and visit or go and see Dr. Riek Machar from his house arrest. That means there's a huge evidence show the incident happened in Nasser, Dr. Riek Machar is involved. And I always say, okay, if there's a crime committed in Nasser, there will be somebody who will be held accountable for it. If the incident, the issues happened in Nasser, kill more over 400 SSPDF with their family, wife, and children that you know be. And international community don't see that. And you are calling for the dialogue, and you are calling for the release of Riek Machar, and you are calling for the peace. If the peace that you are calling our international community, is it only Riek Machar is the only person can bring peace in South Sudan? Can the peace come in South Sudan without Riek Machar? If you are calling stability in the country, why don't international community listen to the voice of the citizen of the people of South Sudan? If you don't have your own interests, okay? What interest do you have on Dr. Riek Machar? And let me remind you history about the Dr. Riek Machar international community. Let me play this video, this clip.
We don't love killing, you know. It's not a good character. It's not part of my description. Garang today has no troops. If he had troops, we would have been fighting here. Most of his troops were wiped out in Bor. And anybody else who wants to fight knows that his fate might be the same with those who were wiped out in Bor.
Riek Machar's departure has left them vulnerable and uncertain.
When this incident happened, we could not pull out forces from around Juba because this would be exploited by the enemy. And they did try it, of course. They thought that we have pulled out our forces to go and fight Riek with. But had we done so, they would have exploited it and would have broken out from Juba all that time. So Riek's betrayal is great.
He knows how crucial unity is.
Even if I forgive them, They will be known in history as people who stabbed the movement in Southern Sudan in the back. They will be known as people who, at the point of victory, when we were going to win in Juba, this was our next target, still is. They stabbed us in the back. The people of Southern Sudan, the people of the Sudan will judge that.
Now, you have heard from the late leader, Dr. John Garang. Dr. Riek Machar started movement on the back in 1991, and he's still stabbing the Republic of South Sudan on the back in 2013, 2016, and 2025. So, and always this time frame, the international community always stand with Dr. Riek Machar. They are not standing with the people of South Sudan. Why? So why international community always stand with Dr. Riek Machar? If you are calling for the peace, sustainability in South Sudan, you should talk about the well-being of the citizen, the victim, those people. We have 1,000 or 1 million people are in refugee camp, I will speak. And who called those? It's him. Because he want to grab the power by force. And you listen to his voice for 1991. So, international community, if you want to see the peace to be restored in South Sudan, just talk about the way that the IGAD, the African Union, spoke the other day. That's the message that you guys should send. Do not send the mixed messages. And I know international community, I know there are some people who are feeding you for the wrong information. That's why you go and release those press statements. But this is not the way you should not play as a double standard here. You want peace to come in South Sudan? Talk about the peace without Riek Machar. Try it that way. Can you try? And we'll see. Give South Sudan 5 years. 5 good years without Riek Machar. You will see the peace will come to 10 states, plus 3 administrations. Across the area, all counties level. There will be no war between any communities. Okay? But the political way that Riek Machar is playing with his IO, that brainwash the citizen that they can kill one another. Now, this aggression going on now in Nasser. So accountability, you guys talk about accountability. So what happened in Nasser? And you say, oh, we are calling for Dr. Riek Machar to be released. We are calling for dialogue. Okay. What about the accountability? Why don't call accountability about what happened in Nasser? What happened in Nasser? They even killed the UN crew during that time. How many times you guys been calling the release? You have seen the peace agreement in 2018. Dr. Riek Machar was arrested, taken to South Africa. He spent a couple of years there. And then same people, you guys calling for release of Dr. Riek to join the peace agreement in Addis. He has released. Okay. For the last 6-7 years, while he's in Juba, what happened to the peace? The peace has not been achieved. There's no election. The country has been ruled by extension, and that's what he needs. Riek Machar need the country to be governed by extension, and that extension now. What happened during? You have seen he caused a war in Nasser because simply he need not election take place in 2026. You don't want that election. That is the reason of this war going on right now. He won what you guys are calling him to be released from the house arrest, and then the people go back to negotiation table. And then another extension coming. That's what he wants. He wants to be in power by using the blood of the citizens of South Sudan. And you, international community, you are not listening to our boy as a citizen of that country. So let us listen to Michael Mukulu when his press release at the time. So before that's my message today from the nation community calling for Dr. Riek Machar from house release is unacceptable. And you guys need to stop doing that. Talk about the peace implementation without Riek is the right thing to do. Follow the voice of African Union and IGAD. And the ARCIS implementation, it will continue. And Stephen Powell can be an extreme chairman of SPLIO. And you SPLIO supporters, you have to rally behind of Stephen Powell. Yeah, I'm reading you guys' messages here. I'm reading you guys' messages. And some of your die-hard of support of Dr. Riek Machar. Is SPLIO is the only, Riek Machar is the only chairman can lead that movement without Riek, that thing will not, the IO will not go ahead. And another thing too, there's no any country that have so many commander-in-chief. Only South Sudan. And by President Taban Dengai is right. This guy Taban Dengai have my support. He should be the vice president because we need one president, one vice president, and one commander-in-chief, and one army for the nation. We should not have so many army in the country. And this is how you see the young Machar now is using this because you know that he has military power. He thinks that he is in power. He thinks that he don't even see that SSPDF is a nation army. And that's what we hear. That's the echo we're hearing from their supporters in social media. Okay. So the country should have only one army. All of these men should be not replaced. But now the country has been divided. Every tribe, every Gabila have their own army. So it is a time, it is a time for us to come together as South Sudanese. Okay? Let this year be a year of fix everything, fix South Sudan. Let it be a year that the unification of the army forces should be united be one. Okay, all of these negative forces, IO forces and other forces, they have to be integrated into SSPDF. That's the only thing that country, so-called South Sudan, can have stability and peace that we yearning for. But if we are just supporting, I'm in support of Riek Machar, I'm in support of President Salva Kiir, and we have our power, we have a military. So what are you doing? So people of South Sudan have enough. It is a time for change. Okay, whether you like it or not, change have to come, whether in the easy way or hard way. So that is one of the things that I would like to convey that message to you guys today. Majok, are you there? Majok Marco, do you want to say something before I move ahead? Okay. So those are the things that I want to share with you, Junubin. Well, the change is coming from us, to all of us, my brother. Change have to come to all of us. If we don't see the change that we need, the change that I'm looking for is not the change that we rally on our own leader that we see. Okay? We need to, yeah. Go ahead, Majo.
Thank you so much to the audience and the viewers on Facebook. I will not take much of the time because I'm a bit occupied. But I just want to put a word of appreciation to you who create the room and actually try to display the messages and the receptions of Vice President General Tabandega. First of all, I don't know who initiated the trip of Tabandega to Bitiu. If that decision came from me or somebody actually decided to share the idea with it. Whoever did that, whoever thought of it, thought a great thing. My personal point of view, Taban has done the perfect things to do. During the difficult times, leaders should disseminate the message of peace, and leaders should move to the grassroots and speak to the people. Leaders should always be in touch to the ground. Leaders should always be connected in one way or the other to their communities. And by doing so, the leaders will kill what they call propaganda automatically. Leaders will try so much to set things right, the things which are supposed to be twisted by the enemies of the progress. What happened in Juba, an unfortunate incident, and is continuing up to now, is because our leaders never thought of being in touch with their grounds. Because everybody is already in Juba, they're sleeping in a hotel, they're enjoying everything. So you think of going to your estate, somebody will gossip you out of political arena or even lob you outside. So everybody is busy in Juba, especially our politicians. They're busy in Juba trying to make sure nobody is about to degrade them out or nobody will speak ill against them to the appointing authority, which is the President Salva Kiir. But I can't think they're moving by road for that speaking and stopping.
Which to me is not for peace.
He passes on the road. That one will change some narrative. We will give sense of belonging to those communities. They will understand that their leaders are coming close to them. And by the virtue in moving all the way to Bentiu, in that huge celebration of 100 years of Catholic Church in Bentiu, I think even before he speaks, I can preempt that Japan will deliver a very concrete message of peace, both to the people of Bentiu and to the people of Lagos State and to the people of Northern Pakistan and to the people of Arab State. And this is what we need. I'm pretty sure after Taban will reach that space or to that place actually, speak to the people, start moving all the counties of Bentiu or the counties of Unity State, I'm pretty sure it will reduce this rampant attacking by civilians among themselves. The reason why all these civilians are attacking themselves, you will agree or disagree with me. Instead, I have heard that there is political differences in Juba. Then everybody begins to think that as long as they are fighting in Juba, then there is no law on the grassroots. So if leaders are fighting, then why not us? We can take advantage of this situation so that we can go and loot so and so cattle, so that we can go and kill so and so. But now leaders are going to the grassroots and talk to them. I think the message will be clear, loud to them. Secondly, Taban Dega in the speech in our area county, he says two things. He says anybody is not above the law. We are all equal before the law. And if you try to be in conflict, as Makulwa put it, with the law or with the justice, then you will face it. And he gave an example of himself, the life of Bolmel, the life of Mamarabeka Nyadeng, and all those past presidents. And he concluded, what happened to Dokaria? There is challenge attached to it. He will face the law, and all of us, we should sit back and watch and see how best he will maneuver himself out of that crisis. So that is sentiment. Send a clear message to everybody that maybe this might be the beginning of justice in our country. And if government impose that justice on Dr. and compromise somewhere, and then the justice, that will be a selective law. A selective law does not make a society progress. Laws should be equal to everybody and apply to everybody. As long as you are against the law, then you should be confronted with what the law says. So I think it should be the beginning. Those who involved in corruptions, and Taban himself said this, then we should go back to those days. The thieves must be fire squad. To some extent, one could agree with it. And if we were to subject them to that law, I think none of them will escape the bullet. Start away from the president, down to the commissioners of our counties, because none is clean in our government. Even those who claim to be civil servants, they are corrupt in one way or the other. As long as the system is corrupt, you must be corrupt for you to survive. So some of the people who might be holding a certain integrity, they always compromise the integrity because of the situation. Their kids are being chased out of schools and they don't have nothing to eat, so they can do anything. So if that thing happened to be the beginning of justice in our land, then let it be. So, and those corrupt leaders also should be subjected to such scrutiny of law. The second statement Taban released was that I will speak to those newer. He says, you, Aurelian people, Ralia, you respect the law, and more especially the people of Lagos State. He is referring to the current regime of Governor Riek, because Governor Riek has tried best to stabilize the situation in Lagos State compared to previous governors. And by saying that, in his mind, he knows who provoked who in the neighborhood of Unity State, Upper State, and Lagos State. So this is what I can add, Abraham Udit. I'm going to be busy now, and I will follow the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, SG Majok. Yeah, you are 100% correct, my brother. Yeah, you are true. Yes, you are right. Because the leaders need to visit the grassroots. This is the only, if the peace need to come, the leaders have to do a grassroots peace talk by go the way that by President Taban Dega did. And it is really a good message that he did. So thank you so much for your input. And I know let me play the video from Michael Makulwa, because this video was for last 2 weeks ago when they give the press release, the stage of the arrest of by President Dr. Riek Machar.
Which to me is not, there is no contradiction. The government is very clear that we are not ready to fight and we are for peace, for the continuation of the ceasefire. This does not mean that if you decide to fight me, then I fold my hands and say, no, I don't want to fight you because we are in ceasefire. No, I must defend myself. This is the right given. And as such, what is happening now is not a contradiction, as stated, but it is a reality on the ground. If the other party doesn't want to cease fire and wants to continue attacking me, like what happened in Nasser, from Upper Nile up to Malakal, who is that person? Who is that body who has been attacking all these institutions? What happened in Punjab? What happened in Fiji? These are people attacking. This is the White Army, the so-called White Army, which to me is not a White Army, but it is IO, attacking positions of the government, and as such, the government must defend itself. And in the course of defense, for those who are not military-minded, the defense includes attack. Because if you want to defend yourself, you must preempt that person whom you suspect to, or whom you know to be doing something, planning something against you. You don't need to wait until he attacks you when you are already known his intentions. So there is no contradiction. We are acting in self-defense, and we are for peace and harmony. We are for reconciliation, and we are for peace. So this ceasefire, we are already on record that we are for ceasefire. And if the opposition, if the IO doesn't want peace ceasefire, then we'll not definitely wait and say, well, we are on ceasefire now, we will not respond or will not defend ourselves. This is what is happening all over. Because in the course of doing whatever you are doing in the military, you must collect information. Because your actions are dependent on the information that you collect. According to our sources, these people are planning very ambitious attacks, ambitious plans to attack all over South Sudan, and this is why they are being preempted. That is one. Number two, the displacement people are talking about, this displacement of communities or people. Earlier, people have been saying, well, why are you bombarding the communities, the civilians? By the way, a civilian who is living in a military area is no longer a civilian. He is a legitimate target. As long as you are there with enemies, staying with them in the same area, you are a legitimate target.
Let me pause there for a second. That comment raised a lot of discussion in social media. Yeah, Jama, when we were fighting with the Northern Jalaba, those of you who were in the bush with SPLA, when the Jalaba always bombing us, do they differentiate from SPLM, or do they differentiate from civilian and SPLA? They don't. They see all of us, the people who are living in that area, the area where the SPLA controlling area in southern part of Sudan, they always bombing all this area, Torit, Kapoita, you name it. And you go all those towns. So they bombing, even where the civilians are staying, they're bombing, and there are always casualties. So the message that Honorable Michael McCullough is saying is that the area that the government is bombing right now in Nasser or in other part of Upper Nile, and those white army that they are pursuing, and SPLIO they are pursuing in that area, they are living with the civilian. Okay, and the civilian is always the victim. They will end up to be a victim, and that's why I was calling that in order to stop this senseless war in this area, this white army, they have to put down their weapon and then join the peace agreement talk with the government. In other words, if you want to fight with that, just leave the area where the civilians are. And also the government too, you have to be very careful too. So you have to know that this area there are civilians, and those are the civilians, you are responsible for them. You need to identify your target. You should not be just bombing randomly. That's not good. That is not acceptable. You should bomb the area that you see your enemy is, where the white army or the IO forces. That's where you can bomb. But if you see the area is populated by civilian, don't do that. Like what happened when you guys bombed the hospital. That's not good. You guys did same what the white army did in Nasser. I mean not Nasser, in the area. What the name? What the area that they looted? One of the same MSF hospital. Same thing. The government bombed that, and then same white army they loot the area, the facility. So you have the government. You have responsibility to make sure that to save life for the civilian. So you take them, because I have seen some of the picture in social media. Some of the civilians are now staying in the swamp area. There's no food, and they were all staying where the kid you can see. That is heartbreaking. Okay, you should save those people who are caught on that conflict zone. Give them food, medicine. Pick them out from where they are staying, because that swamp area there are snakes and other wild animal or other insect that can kill them. Malaria can another factor. Cholera, now I hear there is a pandemic cholera in the area. So the government, I'm calling you government to make sure that to save this civilian life in the area. So you should not be bombing just randomly. You have to bomb your target, where your enemy is, where you see the IOR or white army. That's why you should bomb. Wulang, yeah, thank you, yeah, Wulang area. So
whoever is living with those civilians, with those military people, if anything happens, the bullet will not differentiate between the civilian and the soldier. So this is why they are all the time advised to keep away from these hostile elements so that they are not affected. So we are not killing anybody. We have not killed anybody. We have not harmed anybody. But anybody found in that area, in that hostile area, is deemed to be a hostile element. This is the language of the army. So the ceasefire is there. But it is being...
Okay, but let me pause there for a second. Those are the hostile area that Michael McCool was saying. The way that I see it, if you guys identify the hostile area, and specifically you see the target where your enemy is, number one thing you should do, just call the civilian to move away from the area. Put that in public to save yourself from criticize that you are killing a civilian. Call and put out the warning. All the civilians are this hostile area. You should leave this area as soon as possible. Whether you can go to the refugees area where the UN is, if they are closer to the border of Ethiopia, they have to go to Ethiopia area, or leave this area. Or if you have a mean of resources, you have to provide them a shelter, food, and a medical need. Okay? So evacuate them on this hostile area. That's where you can identify your enemy. Where are they? The white army or the IO forces. But if you start bombing and you call them all of these are white army, no, I disagree with you, Michael McCullough, because these are civilians. And you government, you are responsible for them. Okay? the way that the citizens are suffering right now in this area is not acceptable. Okay. So the government have to do your mandate. You have to take care of the life and the property of this citizenry.
Violated by them. And if they violate it, then definitely we will not say, yeah, we are in ceasefire, so we will not defend ourselves. We are all the time in defense. That is on the investigation for the brother who asked about investigation. It has started a long time ago. I don't know how did you miss it. But the investigation started a long time ago and is ongoing. And we cannot talk about the investigation because this will prejudice the course of investigation. So there is no more. It is enough that you know that there is investigation going on, full stop. No more talk about the investigation. You will not get any further information from there. Yeah, for the hostile communities, these communities, they are not all hostile as such. Because even within the hostile communities, there are few who are reasonable and understanding. But they are the minority. This does not mean that we have denied them, because in every community, there are hostile majority, and if the majority are hostile, then they are deemed to be all hostile. Even though within these communities, there are few who are understanding and reasonable and not hostile. These communities, of course, once those who agitate them, once we address the issue of those who agitate them, then we will talk to them. And they will understand. Once we isolate them from these groups that are all the time agitating them, then definitely they will come to understanding, and they will. They are communities, and as such we cannot punish communities, but to educate them, tell them the truth so that they understand. For phase 2, yes, there will be phase 2. My phase 1 has already gone, but this time we want to expedite phase 2.
Yes, I agree with you, Honorable Michael Makulwes. You cannot punish the entire community, so you cannot. You cannot generalize the whole 9 counties as hostile. Those 9 counties that have good people in it. So it's not all county are bad. So every community they having a bad element in it. So it should not be generalized. So generalization is not good. I agree with you. You are right on that. It should not, those hostile 9 counties that the government level has a hostile counties. No, not all of them. So Pacific name those individual of group that who have been hostile to the government and they are hostile to their neighbors. So those are the things. So we have to separate things. So the comment that Honorable Martin Riek Machar is out of context, and have to take that word back, because you should not generalize the whole community, all 9 counties. No. So even though these 9 counties are their voice are echoed by the SPLIO, majority of them are supported by SPLIO, and they have been brainwashed. If you can see, these 9 counties, the president of SPLIO and White Army, what do you expect to do this community? Because the people who are ruling that area are the SPLIO. The government, the South Sudan has been divided into you guys are having 2 government in the country. Government of SPLIO and government of SPLIG. And this is where I come in here to condemn the national community for set up the people of South Sudan the way that they did. And that's why always this peace agreement need to be thrown into the toilet. Because you cannot divide the country, give the power sharing between IO and IG. And this is the consequences now. The power sharing that you guys did, you should do the power sharing on the political area, not the military wing. The military wing should be, leave alone, that's a different part of entity. The military cannot involve themselves into the political things in Juba. They are non-partisan. But guess what? The SPLM have its own SSPDF, SPLIO, they have own SPLIO forces, and they are control this area. You guys label it has a hostile 9 counties controlled by SPLIO. So they are giving their territory, and you guys are giving your own territory, and only one country are doing that. And the national community are set you guys up the way they set you up. The government should be one government governing the country, not 2 parallel governments. And that's what you see in the Northern Sudan. That's what's going on between Ameti and Buran. Now, Northern Sudan is in fire. And the same thing is going on in the south. Okay? So do not allow this, and that's why I always preaching that these things need to be, these issues have to be ended in this year. The unified of army should be unified, and the army should stay away from political. Stay away from political. They should not be sided with these political leaders. The army forces are the non-partisan. The mandate for the army forces is to protect the property and the life of the citizen of the public and protect the constitution of the nation. If there is aggression coming, that's where the army can interfere and then stop that aggression against the nation. But guess what? You have divided the country into 2 pieces or many pieces. Everyone is government. There's no country that IO is collecting their taxes on the road. That's where IG is collecting their own taxes on the road. What the hell are you guys doing? And this is how the corruption is going on. So you are robbing the citizen. SPLIO is collecting tax from the same citizen. The SPLM is collecting the same citizen. What the government is this? So all of these 9 counties, this been hostile. Yes, they have to be hostile because they are the only thing they know. They know SPLIO, and their president is Riek Machar. That's what they know of, and they will listen to him. To fix it, to fix this mess, leaders of South Sudan, to fix this mess, it is a hard way. You have listened to what Taban say. The government is mad. No, you guys mad. You have to fix this. You have to fix this now weather. Because do not leave this stone not returned. Because if you leave it like the way that you guys left it in 2016 or 2018, it's still going to come back and bite you.
By reviewing the agreement so that we reduce these stages whereby you start from the assembly area, you go to the cantonment, and from cantonment you are screened, and then you go to the training center. Kalam de Kulu, we want to make a shortcut. And we had ever been standing against these arrangements. But of course, because the agreement was partly imposed on us, these are some of the provisions that we were against by then. And this is why it became difficult for us to implement them. So what we will do, we will this time we will expedite the process, and we may decide to do without one of the phases. That is the cantonment phase will no longer be there, but from the assembly directly to the training center. And people, I remember in Anyanya 1, all the forces of Anyanya 1 were integrated within 3 months. They were all organized and integrated within 3 months, after which they were taken for training. Why should we avoid that system? And it would have been the best, and there would have been, at present, we would have had no 9 chiefs of general, commanders in chief, and 9 chiefs of general staff. All these would have not been there. But it is the agreement which brought all this to us. So we are trying to address that situation so that we avoid any further. As for the vacancies, those who vacated, the vacancies vacated belong to IO. And it is the interim body or the transitional body of the IO that will write to His Excellency the President that these people have already gone. We are requesting your offices, your good offices, to relieve them and appoint A, B, C, D in their places. It's not our work. It is not the work of, but we will request them to consider that, because we cannot continue with these vacancies vacated. So it is the committee, the IO committee, that will be writing to the President for the relief of those who have already defected or under arrest or on hiding. These are the people who will be relieved so that the others are appointed in their places. What impact does the arrest of Riek Machar have on the peace process? Riek Machar is the chairman of an organization called the SPLM-AIO. He is not the SPLM-AIO, but he is the chairman of that organization. And the fact that he is the chair of the organization doesn't mean that in his absence, the movement has collapsed or the institution has collapsed. The institution continues, and as such, his arrest or being outside the administration of the IO doesn't mean that the SPLM-AIO has gone. The SPLM-AIO, as you might have heard, and you will get it when you are given copies, the SPLM-AIO is now divided into 4 factions. 3 factions. One faction is the faction in conflict with the law. It is under arrest. The other faction is the faction that decided to defect out of fear. And this is another defection. The other faction is the faction that is on hiding here inside South Sudan. That is number 3. The 4th is this faction which is now in the government. This faction now in the government is saying we are continuing with the implementation of the agreement. They are not saying we are not implementing, but they are saying we want to make sure that the implementation of the agreement continues. And they are in the government. So what is Riek Machar is a leader, yes, we recognize him, but the fact that he is in conflict with the law is a different thing. And the fact that he is Riek Machar as a person is different from the SPLM-AIO as an institution. So his arrest, his being under house arrest and undergoing investigation at present does not affect the implementation of the agreement in any way. So the agreement will continue to be implemented, and what you have in mind is that this will definitely Riek Machar as the leading, one of the most important signatories to the agreement, then the agreement must collapse. The agreement will not collapse. It will continue, and we will continue to implement the agreement, and this is why we are talking of elections in 2026. That is one. As for his position, of course, will be vacated when necessity requires. As soon as the investigation continues, if the investigation committee finds that there is a prima facie case against Riek Machar, then they will recommend his being prosecuted before the court. Once he is recommended, found to be proved to be in conflict with the law, and they recommend his trial, then he cannot be tried with his position as the first vice president. He will have to be relieved from his position so that he faces the law. Who will do that? It is the investigation committee. The investigation committee will investigate into the case, and once the investigation is completed and they have found that there is sufficient evidence to warrant his trial, then definitely they will write to His Excellency the President to request him to relieve the first Vice President, Dr. Riek Machar, from his position as the first Vice President of the Republic so that his state goes to the court. This is the situation. So he will not just be, because even in the investigation, if the investigation finds that there is no case against him, they will push the case and discharge him. If they find that there is no case against Riek Machar, the investigation committee has the competence to discharge him. So this is the situation. He will not be taken to the court by Gumash Bito. Lazim Gumash de Galawa Ubada Yamshi Muatin. That is the situation. And this is the time when his position will be vacated. And if that position is vacated, then the SPLM AIO, interim administration, will now recommend. The president will now call the interim administration of the IO and ask them to make a recommendation to fill this vacancy. And it is they who will make the necessary recommendation to the president. That is.
Okay, now let me pause there for a second. That's a good point. So now today, I mentioned earlier on my beginning of my show. So today, the Peace Committee endorsed Stephen Pal as SPLIO representative. The meeting was conducted at the high-level Senate Parliamentation of Peace Agreement in 2018. The body compromise parties, including, listen to this, it is remain unclear whether the peace material of RJMAT will be another key stakeholder in South Sudan agreement signed will endorse Stephen Pal. But now the other party like SOWA and SPLM IG and others, they endorse Pal to be a representative of SPLIO in the peace agreement. Yeah, listen to this. Dr. Martin Luther Common and Affair Ministry, the secretary of the high-level committee, said on Thursday that all factions now has a full right to nominate members to the peace mechanism to advance the implementation of the peace agreement. Okay, so now this is where they are going. So now the Stephen Pal now can go ahead and move on and choose these people to fill those gaps, those people, those positions, they could say position that those are still IO members that who fled the area. And some of them are in the prison somewhere in Juba. So so here he said, I quote, I echo all the parties to the agreement to refrain from making a statement that contradicted the fact that the agreement is alive and active. Okay, so I heard it yesterday. Some of the anti-peace element has been going out. Oh, the RSS peace agreement is dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's in a coma. Well, according to these people, they said that it's not. It's still active and it's alive. Dr. Elias Moro, key ally of President Kiir, said the committee agreed to advance the peace deal accurately election plan. So election plan now, you have seen they are all out, the agreement that the election is taking place. Now, outlined in the April 26, the government response to the crisis, appealed South Sudanese for the party, for his part, listen to the Stephen Pal Wall, the stream SPLIO chairman confirmed his group's recognition by the high-level committee, which compromised parties to the peace agreement, including the ruling SPLM. The SPLIO extreme leadership was anonymously recognized by a committee, which compromised all the parties to a peace agreement. He said they recognize us as a legitimate representative of SPLIO as a party to the peace agreement, and we are grateful for that. Meanwhile, Michael, a UN representative of the South Sudan Opposition Alliance, SOA, confirmed the recognition of Mr. Kwal leadership reform. Now, so you have seen now that is the move. So those main parties of the RC's peace agreement in the government, current government, now they agree that they recognize Kwal, Stephen Kwal, to be a representative to replace Dr. Riek Machar.
The situation. The name of the commander is Garwich. Something. The name of the commander is Garwich. He's coming from Sudan and he's moving that way. And if you need more of the names of the commanders, you can furnish you with them if you need them. But there are so many commanders these days. What is special about the current situation, and why not dialogue? We are not against dialogue. This should be number one. Should be understood that we are not against dialogue. And all that SPLM-AIO under the command of Riek Machar had been doing all this time. We had been dialoguing with them all these years. Despite all the atrocities that they have been committing all these years, we had been dialoguing, but this dialogue has made them to misunderstand us. Because every time they kill people, we dialogue, and then we come and agree again, ignoring the lives which are lost. This time, we have decided the other way around. We have decided not to dialogue because dialogue proved to be insufficient. So we have decided to consult the law. We have decided to try law, because they say if education cannot help, try ignorance. Is it? Okay, we will try. If dialogue cannot help, we will try the law. This is why we are subjecting these people to the law. Because we have dialogue for long, and dialogue did not had not been fruitful. And if it had not been fruitful, then why should we continue with it? We are trying law this time, and then we will see how far will it succeed. So that is why we are applying the law. In the course of application of the law, those who are in conflict with the law will address their conflict with the law in the courts. But those who are not in conflict with the law will continue to dialogue with us. So we are not rejecting the dialogue. Those who are in conflict with the law, those who are under arrest will continue under investigation and whatever. And those who are not in conflict with the law will continue to dialogue with them. because necessity requires us to dialogue. So we'll continue to dialogue with them. We'll continue to dialogue with the new administration. So we have not stopped dialogue. We have never rejected it, and we will not stop it. Because our major problem now is not the whole-out groups who are over there in the Tumaini and so forth. Our problem is now with those who are whole-out groups within. So we must first address the issue of this inner whole-out group before we go and look for our brothers and sisters who are outside there. So we are not neglecting the whole-out groups.
Bajuk?
Yes, Michael McQueen is making good for laugh, seriously.
Yeah.
We have to like with those who are within and we are with all our group.
Yeah. Those within are now he's fighting with the
Now I got 2 minutes if you don't mind. I need to say something about
yeah, go ahead.
Stephen Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, for Stephen Park to be confirmed, Abraham Adit is the milestones on the interim leadership, and it is also disadvantaging the whole out group of the IO, especially those who flew Juba and moved to the East African countries and other regions, seeking for safety.
First address this.
Because of fear of an unknown. The international communities and the regional body and the peace grantors deem it fit that if Dr. Riek is under house arrest, and then there is another intermediate of IO and somebody that has presented himself, that he will proceed up to the last step of the agreement, then they may thought this is the right thing to do. Somebody is under house arrest, we will come back to him later on, but for the meantime, we must move on with the IO leaders who are willing to implement the agreement. One thing that I disagree with the government, if government has seen that there is somebody ready to replace Dr. Riek or somebody that will actually edit the IO, then the government should also slow down on breaching and violating the agreement. They should go back and respect the protocol of the agreement for the sake of giving these people credibility, especially the interim. But now the government is taking back some of the counties, is replacing some of the positions without consultations with the interim leadership. So the IO who is in conflict with the law will see this interim leadership as a useless or toothless dog, which is being used by the government. So for the government to give that due respect to them and give them that kind of arguments, hotspots on the other side of the IO, then the government should lean back a little bit and respect the agreement. Secondly, they should also speed up the agreement implementation. As long as they are willing to conduct elections next year, December, and I'm happy to see the chairperson of Independent Electoral Commission, Abinago, meeting with the president before the briefing. So it's not that our things always end in briefing, but there are many institutions that have briefed our president for the last 3 or 5 years, and nothing has come out of that briefing. So anything of our government does always end up in briefing. So if this issue of election does not end up in briefing only, then the president, the vice president, and everybody should work jointly, make sure they put money together and launch what they call a population center. Whether there is insecurity or not, then there are some other parts of South Sudan that are stable. They should do centers now. And by the end of the year, everything should be set. And by the beginning of 2026, they should run the election campaign and everything that they could, so that they could also squeeze the tire. Through that, they will be in a position to block the Riek completely. But if they prolong it, if there's no a politician that has weight cannot be ignored in totality. They may ignore Dr. Riek now, but tomorrow, Dr. Riek might come back with a lot of energy. And that energy might take us back to another 5 years renewal of revitalized peace agreement. That's what I can add. Thank you so much. Otherwise, I beg you, Abraham, to open the answer so that people will come up and share their thoughts. Be blessed.
Thank you, SG Majok. Thank you. Yeah, we're almost complete now. So we are just we have another breaking news just coming in. United Nations, the UN Security Council has just released a press statement. So here is the read. The United Nations Security Council, the Resolution 2779 2025 summary, adopt May 8, 2025. The meeting number 9913 mandate extended to a 30 April 2026. Overview. So I will not be reading a lot because it's a long statement. So I will be scrambling around. So the overview, the resolution 2779 2025 reaffirmed the United Nations Security Council is commitment to supporting the peace, civilian protection, humanitarian relief, and democratic transition in South Sudan. It responds to the critical delay in the implementation of the RCS peace agreement, ongoing violence, human rights violation, and worsen the humanitarian crisis or situation in the country. The resolution extends the mandate of the United Nations mission in South Sudan, the UNMISS, for 1 year under Chapter V2 of the United Nations chapter. So now, if you guys see, the United Nations UNMISS in South Sudan have just extended their mandate for another year in the country. The UNMISS mandate priority is protection of the civilian, authorize the use of all necessary means to prevent and respond to the violence, with special attention to the women, children, IDP camp. Facilitation of humanitarian assistance, support secure access to humanitarian operation, and challenges of location, illegal fees, and aid division. Support for the peace process, asset, implementing the RCS agreement, including political dialogue, electoral process, transitional justice, and institutional reform. The human rights monitoring, investigation or investigating and report violation of the international law, including the conflict related to sexual violence, child recruitment, suspension of civil space, and why don't move up? The political governance requirement, the election, urge the transitional government to recognize the inclusive, transparent, and credible election by December 2026, ensuring the participation by the women, youth, refugees, IDP, and all political actors. Transitional arrangements of the hybrid court for the South Sudan, the Truth Commission, compensation authority with the protection for the victim, witness, and civil society. The security factor call for the full deployment support and integration of the necessary unified forces with the regular salary and clear mandate. It keeps not moving on for some reason. Bear with me, guys. My phone here. Come on, dude. What's going on? Okay, here you go. So, where am I? Okay. Okay, the mandate. The government reform, the financial transparency and single treasury account and anti-corruption framework for ensuring the purpose use of national resources. Humanitarian and civil protection. Crisis response note over 9.3 million in need, 6.1 million at risk of famine. More than 2 million IDP condemn violence against AIDS workers and misuse of civilian infrastructure. Freedom of movement, civil space, demand protection of journalists, civil society, oppositions parties, freedom of assembly and expression, agenda and children's rights. The stress implementation of women is 35%, representation code, protection from the gender-based violence and enforcement of child protection commitment. The special provision. The UNIMIS base at thumping reject a demand to vacate firm the base legit role in protection and democracy support, climate and security, acknowledge environmental risks to peace and call for comprehensive adoption measure, army embargo and sanctions. Reiterate an international army embargo are initial readiness to oppose a measure on individuals of entitled or peace attacking at UN personnel. And the last one is monitoring and reporting. The UN Security Council General is required to provide a detailed 90 days report on the mandate implementation, obligation, encourage, and risk assessment using a perform and data tool to measure the impact. The Security Council remains active, engaged, and retain the option to act on the violence of this resolution of the peace process in South Sudan and court. So that is the that is the release from the United Nations. They just released a few minutes ago. So that's the resolution, the summary of the resolution just released, and they adopted, though they extend their mandate to April 30, 2026. So that's the latest update from the United Nations Security Council. They just extend their mandate to another year in South Sudan, and you have listened their layout, what are their view and their mission and all kind of stuff. So that is the one that I just shared with you guys. But Joga, you want to add something on that, or you good? So I think so we come to conclusion, guys. So this is my last show. We are come to end. Thank you guys for watching. This is our update for you and our talk of political things going on in our country. So that thing that we share and we'll bring more analysis. I'm sorry that some of you want to come up or join me in the studio, but just want this to make sure that it be just to be a small thing. So because I'm not going to stay here for long. So thank you guys for tuning in. Have a wonderful morning and have a wonderful night wherever you are. God bless you and may God bless us. Hello, Bilicon. How are you, my brother? Good evening. How you guys are doing?
maningalit. Manayo, Koiro, Ubayin, Goy, Yeletan, Banan. Ayo, Kaya Matonarot, Jemanatonale, Joy, Joy, Vitaya Colin, Dubai, Pin, what you put a you to jogging by the Pandemic, which in our dam, I'm a little trend. Jalakapi, Kudadi, Kewil Panan, Kudamu, Bukoilo, Panan, Kayokole, I lay your train, is young as your water, who watching Maningalit, Manayo, Bukoilo, Ubayin Goy, Yeletan Panan, Ayo, Kaya Matonarot, Jemanatonale, Joy, Joy, Vitaya Colin, Dubai, Pin, what you put a you to jogging by the pandemic, which in our dam, I'm a little trend. Jalakapi, Kudadi, Kewil Panan, Aga, Yelagale, Aga, Wayo, Maga, Kajago, Andi Matona Maton, Alaga, Yelagade, Matona Maton, Aga, Yelagale, Aga, Wayo, Maga, Kajago, Andi Matona Maton, Alaga, Yelagade, Matona Maton, Maningalit, Manayo, Koiro, Ubayin Goy, Yeletan Panan, Ayo, Kaya Matonarot, Jemanatonale, Joy, Joy, Vitaya Colin, Dubai, Pin, what you put a you to jogging by the pandemic, which in our dam, I'm a little trend. Jalakapi, Kudadi, Kewil Panan. What you put a you to jogging by the pandemic, which in our dam, I'm a little trend.
Thank you guys. Have a good night. Bye now.